Okay, I've been trying to record this a couple of times, wasn't successful because there's some kind of mistakes. Okay, let's see 7. We want to divide those two complex numbers. Then in the end, to write as a plus bi form. So what do? We want to multiply by its conjugate. Okay. The conjugate of 2 plus 7i is 2 minus 7i. And we have to do the same for the numerators. In this case, we just multiply by 1. So the value of the expression doesn't get changed. So when we multiply, the bottom, remember we have a formula, sum in complex numbers. We can factor sum up to squares. To the bottom, just sum up to squares is 2 squared plus 7 squared. Okay, so bottom one, we don't really have to calculate if we remember the formula. The numerator we have to calculate. So how do we calculate? We'll put a parenthesis around of 2 terms times 2 terms. So we multiply like a smiling face, multiply those two, we multiply those two, then we multiply those two, we multiply those two. So we have to multiply 4 times, right? So let's multiply -3 with 2. So we get -6. Multiply -5i with -7i. That's a positive 35i squared, right? Because we have I times I squared. And remember, I squared is -1, but we're going to simplify next step. Then we have -5i, down below we have 2, right? Down below we have -5i times 2 is -10i. Then we have -3 times -7i. -3 times -7 become positive 21. Then 7 with I, so we get positive 21i. Then the denominator we have 2 squared 4, 7 squared 49, 4 plus 49, that's a 53. Now let's do the real part because we want to write as a plus bi form. The real part we have -6 here. Then we have this I squared times 35. Well, I squared is -1. -1 times 35 becomes -35. So we have -6 minus 35 becomes -41. So that's the real part, right? Imaginary part, let me change my color. Imaginary part, we also have denominator 53. Let's see the numerator. We have -10i, positive 21i, add together, we get a positive 11i. So in this case, we see A, so this letter A, just -41 over 53, and B is 11 over 53. This is question 8. We also want to multiply by its conjugate, right? Rationalize means making the denominator a rational number. So we multiply by its conjugate. We do the same for the numerator. Then similar as above, if we remember the formula of difference of 2 squares, we can apply to the denominator. The denominator we would get, but this is in real number family, right? It's different from the above. Above is complex number, so we have a sum of 2 squares, a squared plus b squared, right? Can be factored as a, let me type, can be factored as a plus bi times a minus bi with I in it. So that in complex number, it's a sum of 2 squares. But in real number system, we have a plus b times a minus b equals to, let me write it, equals to a squared minus b squared. We call difference of 2 squares, right? So in this case, our A is 5. 5 squared is 25. Our B is square root of 3. Square root of 3 being squared, it's just 3. So get 25 minus 3. And the numerator, we have to multiply by the smiling face again. We multiply 2 with 5. Negative square root 7 times negative square root 3. Well, let's do that. So 2 times 5, we get 10. Negative square root 7, or negative radical 7 times negative radical 3, that's positive radical 21. Right, allow me to write, use my pencil, write a radical sign. Square root of 21, right? Square root of negative square root 7 times negative square root 3. Negative times negative positive. Square root of 7 times square root of 3. Because of all square root, you can put them together. 3 times 7, 21. So that's square root of 21. Then we'll have to multiply this way. Right? Negative square root 7 times 5. That's just negative 5 radical 7. And lastly, we multiply 2 with a negative radical 3. We have minus 2 radical 3. The numerator, we do not have like radicals. So just leave like that. But the denominator, we can simplify. 25 minus 3, that's 22. So this is our answer. Okay, you don't have to simplify. I see some of you try to simplify this. That's unnecessary. But if you try to simplify, you know, it's not wrong either. Let's see this one, right? A lot of you guys know we need to factor this. So the numerator can be factored as x plus 3 times x plus 8. So 3 times 8 is 24. 3 minus 8, 3 plus 8 is 11. Same thing for the denominator. We can factor as x plus 4 times x plus 8. 4 times 8 is 32. 4 plus 8 is 12. So this one was factored. Now we want to change division into multiplication. Right? Then we need to flip the numerator and denominator. So we want to multiply now x minus 4 in the numerator, x plus 3 in the denominator. Remember, when we multiply fractions, we just multiply numerator with numerator, denominator with denominator. So we can just ignore this one, right? We can put this together. This multiplication, this multiplication. Now we look for common factors in the numerator and denominator. We see this is a pair, right? Becomes 1. And x plus 3 becomes 1. So we're left with x minus 4 divided by x plus 4. And that's the answer for this one, for 9. For 10, let's do long division. So we have 3x cubed plus 4x squared minus 6x minus 16. Then divided by 3x minus 5. Some of you try to use short division. Remember, when you use short division, you have to change 3x minus 5. You have to factor out 3. You have to write as x minus 5 over 3, right? Then the factor you're using would be, the number you're using would be 5 over 3, right? Let's do long division here. So we need x squared in the quotient. So 3x times x squared, we get the first term. Then we need to multiply negative 5 with x squared, we get negative 5x squared. Then we subtract. Yeah. When we subtract 4 with negative 5, we get a positive 9x squared. So minus 6x. Now we need to put 3x in the quotient. 3x times 3x will get 9x squared. 3x times 5 get negative 15x. Negative 6x minus negative 15x becomes negative 6x plus 15x. So get a 9x. Then minus 16, right? We basically take those terms down one by one. So we need to put a 3 in the quotient. 3 times 3x will get 9x. 3 times negative 5 will get negative 15. Minus 16, negative 16 minus negative 15 becomes a negative 16 plus 15. So get a negative 1 as a remainder. So our quotient is x squared plus 3x plus 3. Our remainder is negative 1. All right. That's for this slide. So I'm going to do another video for the rest of